I'm making plans for Nigel.
So here we are, out on our first drive in the Mini Electric for I don't know how many weeks or months. Anyway, off to get my COVID jab, so thought I'd share a few things with you. So let's get the admin out of the way. It's 84% state of charge at the moment, and the car says 79 miles of range. And I guess that's a really good place to start, isn't it? 79 miles of range is, well, it's not a lot at all, is it? But the GOM, the guessometer here in the Mini, is pretty useless apart from when you've got the heater on or it's winter. So I guess conditions like this it might be accurate, but in the summer the test drive that I did showed that it's not very accurate at all, so it really is a pessimistic guess. A lot of Mini owners are estimating 1 mile per percent of battery, so 100-mile range, where in the summer I should easily be able to get 120, 140 miles of range. Anyway, what I said at the beginning of this video was my driving style has changed. And it has quite dramatically, and I think it's something worth talking about. When I had the Kona Electric, the Kona's a really, really efficient car with a big battery and a big range, and that guessometer number of 320, 340 that it kept showing was really nice to see those large numbers and those high miles per kilowatt hour numbers. So I used to drive like a pussycat, drive like an old man. Well, I am a bit of an old man, I guess. But anyway, I used to drive very cautiously and economically. As soon as I've got this Mini, I'm not driving like a madman, but I'm driving like I'm back in my early 20s again, and I'm really thoroughly enjoying driving the car. It's just different. The Mini is really efficient and can get almost as good, if not as good, efficiency numbers as the Kona Electric, but it's really difficult to not press the accelerator. It so encourages you to drive more spirited, where the Kona is just so more relaxed and much more lethargic, and you're just happier driving at a slower, more leisurely pace. With the Mini, you just want to get going, you want to attack the road, attack the next corner, and because the acceleration is more instant, it is a faster accelerating car, the Mini, than the Kona, even though it's got less horsepower. And then all the weight being low down and the go-kart feel to it, it's just a great driving experience. And what I've noticed as well with the Mini is I really don't care about efficiency. So maybe it's a case of, because I know I've got a smaller battery and I know I've got a smaller range, and I know it's not going to be as efficient as the Kona, maybe I've given up trying. Maybe I'm just driving as I want to and enjoying the car. But maybe I'm adjusting to what the, where we go, let's go. Maybe I'm adjusting to what the car's best at. So in the Kona it was best at efficiency, so I was maximising the efficiency. The Mini, well, it's just really a great driver's car, so maybe I'm adjusting to that as well. I find I get in the car, I'm turning the heat on, I'm not worrying about the miles per kilowatt hour, I'm not even looking at it, I'm not bothered about the range, I don't care how much it goes down, because I know I'm within range. I'm going for small distance journeys and stuff like that, so I've just switched off from all the things that were important to me before. They're not important now. So my miles per kilowatt hour are, I don't know, let's have a look. It's 3.7 so far. In fact, I don't know whether that's, let's reset that. That might have been from the last trip. So we've just reset it, but there was an example, 3.7 miles per kilowatt hour. That would have been awful in the Kona Electric, but it just really doesn't bother me at all. So is this number thing, is this range thing, and the efficiency and the miles per kilowatt hour and all of these things that we might get anxious about with electric cars, is it real? You know, when you've got a Kona Electric and it does 300 miles, then of course you're not worried about the distance, but it's nice to see huge numbers, and you like to see huge numbers. Now I've got the Mini and it's got 100 miles of range. Well, this one says 78. Well, in the Kona I'd have thought that was empty. Now it just seems, well, you know, 78 miles is a long way. I know it's a long way, but I know it's a small number. So my head has attuned to the numbers differently. I'm not thinking 78 is a low number. I'm sort of telling myself I know it's low, but I don't care because it's enough. And I'm teaching myself how to drive the car again. Now I have to be careful in the Mini because of speed limits, so we're coming up to 30 limit now, and I'm having to focus on making sure I'm at the right speed. In the Kona I found it easy to get to the right speeds because I was driving more slowly. Here in the Mini I can't wait to just push my foot down, I can't wait to accelerate because that's when the car is at its best. I've just noticed the colouring there is yellow, that's not what it's supposed to be. Who's been fiddling with my car? There you go, I have it set on teal. These switches at the top here, they're in front of the rear view mirror. They are funny, they're like little aircraft switches. I keep thinking it's an ejector seat switch, but all they are is for the interior lights basically. So we've driven 1 mile so far since I reset the trip meter, and it says 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour. Yeah, I'm really not fussed. In fact, let's turn the heat up a little bit. I'll turn the heated seat on. There we go. It is quite cold, as you can see from the weather. It's an awful day to come out for a drive in the car. I was hoping for a sunny day, hoping to really thoroughly enjoy the drive, but the car's going to be filthy by the time I get home, so I'm going to have to wash it again. So that's a bit of a bad nuisance having to come out in this sort of weather, but I really have missed being in this car. I know I've said it in a few videos before, but I just can't convey it enough. The sense of joy driving this car is completely different to the sense of I don't know, more accomplishment, sensibleness in the Kona. You know, I knew I had a great car with great range. I knew it was state of the art at the time, and it was a pretty good buy, I think, when I bought the Kona. Whereas this Mini doesn't make any financial sense. It's very efficient, but I don't drive it efficiently. It just doesn't make sense in so many ways, but I love it, and at the moment I wouldn't trade it for anything else. But anyway, I found it fascinating to a little bit of wheel spin and torque steer as we accelerate. I find it interesting and wanted to convey to you that some people look at buying an electric car and they think of what they want, and yet what I'm experiencing is what I enjoy and how I drive the car varies depending on the type of car that I have. So, you know, have I really suffered by moving from a bigger SUV style car to a Mini, which is smaller? Well, no. You know, yes, I do notice that it's harder to put the shopping in the car because of it being a two-door, so you have to move the seats back to get the back seats used for the shopping. And Cracker doesn't have as much space, and yeah, I can't take as many things to the tip, etc. But that's not why I buy a car. I buy a car to drive it, to get from A to B and enjoy it. It's not a van, it's not a utility vehicle for carrying stuff. So has it really encumbered my life in any way in having a smaller, less practical car? No, not at all. Have I noticed the difference in having a smaller battery and a much lower range? The biggest difference that I've noticed is with my solar panels, I haven't got such a big storage place to put all the excess energy that I might get on a really sunny day. Now with the Kona, that was really good. It just soaked up all the solar energy, and it was a huge battery for that. So even though I didn't need the huge range of the Kona, it worked really, really well, having a big battery to store all that solar energy. Now with the Mini, after I've done this trip, 20 odd miles, it will have reduced 20 odd %, so I'm probably going to get back with 60% battery or less, in which case I'm getting close to half full, so I'm going to want to be topping up and charging up again. And on a day like today, well, there's no solar energy, so I won't be able to charge up for free on solar. So I can either leave it and wait for a sunny day. There is actually going to be lots of sunshine tomorrow, so it'll get replenished then. But if not, I'd have to charge overnight and consume some energy and pay for it, which I wouldn't have had to do with the Kona Electric, because obviously I've got so much stored up from previous days with solar energy. So that's the biggest thing I noticed, the buffer that the Kona gave me of all that free solar energy. It integrated well with our home configuration and how we use and store energy, whereas the Mini with its smaller capacity, smaller battery, means we're having to be topping up a little bit more frequently, and maybe I'm probably going to be using a bit more grid usage. not that that's a bad thing. It's still going to be extremely cheap to charge and to run. So it's just different, and it's getting used to the different ways of doing things. So again, I just wanted to convey that if you think, you know, you like an efficient car and you don't like a sporty car and you haven't gone out and tried a different one, then go out and try it anyway, because what you think you might want might not necessarily be what you enjoy the most. And what's important, you know, is it rear leg room in the back for passengers? Is it boot space for bags of garden rubbish? Or is it the comfort in the front and the technology in the front and the driving feel of the car? Is it about comfort, speed, handling, utilitarian space? You know, what is it that you want a car for? But then, do you have to really rethink it? Because I thought what I needed was a more practical, bigger car with a big range, and it turns out that no, what I want is a car with a really small range, a small battery, not a lot of space, but it's bloody fun to drive, great fun to drive. I didn't realise that. I did take a bit of a gamble, but the test drive just convinced me. So anyway, I think you have to think out of the box with electric cars, because sometimes I think people are getting carried away with buying an electric car thinking that you're just buying a battery and you're buying a gauge that says how much range you've got. That is not the most important thing about a car. Other things are more important than that. Especially with so many chargers going in. Who cares how big the range is of the car? I mean, obviously, you know, if I'm going to be up and down motorways and driving across the country every day doing 200 or 300 miles a day, and I've got a car that only does 100 miles, well, it's not very practical, is it? But if, like me, most of your trips are smaller, and it's only those longer trips where you'd have to even contemplate charging, then who cares whether it's a 20 kilowatt hour battery, a 40 kilowatt hour battery, or a 60 kilowatt hour battery? It really doesn't make any difference at all, because if it's not empty, it's not empty, however big it is. The only difference that it made to me is how much I had left and how much spare space I had to charge from the solar panels. So I just find it fascinating that I've gone in complete reverse. I do find it amazing that I'm driving now and I haven't even re-looked at the efficiency. What are we at? 3.5 miles per kilowatt hour with the heater on and the seats. And yeah, it's a horrible, miserable, rainy day, but it just doesn't matter. So was I obsessed with the numbers and the efficiency? Was I just experiencing a novelty with the Kona? I don't know what the reasoning is. All I can say is I drive this car completely differently. The regen, I used to fiddle with it a lot more on the Kona, and I really thought I'd miss the paddles and the adjustability of the regen, but now I haven't got that adjustability. I've got low regen or high regen. I find I leave it in high regen all the time because that gives me better one pedal driving, and I just really enjoy that. So again, I've adjusted to what I've got. And I guess that's the same with things like the Tesla. You know, I'm apprehensive of if I went for a Tesla Model 3 because of the lack of traditional dash and everything being controlled on a screen that's offset to my left. Is that something I would adjust to? But what I'm saying to myself here is you do adjust, and you adjust very quickly to whatever you've got. So again, that thing that you have to adjust to, that compromise, is that what's important, or is it the other reasons as to why you want that car in the first place? So anyway, food for thought. I thought I'd share that with you. Susan's at home. She was going to come out with me for this, but she's really not quite feeling well. She's fallen asleep and resting after her jab yesterday, and basically it seems to have hit her a bit like having a cold, I suppose. You know, she hasn't got those cold-like symptoms, but she is a bit achy. She doesn't feel quite right, very tired, low energy, and has just fallen asleep in the middle of the day. So I've gone out on my own, and hopefully it'll all be fine. And if I get any bad reactions at all, it'll be later on this evening and tomorrow, in which case, yeah, I'll just sit in and take it easy as well. So anyway, we're now entering Wroxham, so we're coming up to the famed Humpback Bridge in Wroxham. On the right hand side here is the car park for some of the boating companies, and that looks like there's been some subsidence there, that some of the car park is given away and has been flooded. So it looks like they're digging it up, putting some drainage in and redoing it. Not looking very good. Anyway, here we are into the centre of Wroxham with Roy's of Wroxham straight ahead. Not as many shoppers out as you would normally have. I guess a lot of the shops are still closed. This place has always got a holiday feel to it. It's a really pleasant place to be. It's got a good vibe to it. And the miles per kilowatt hour has crept up to 3.9. I guess that was a little bit of downhill that we had. And there's the first sign, a yellow AA sign saying COVID Vaccination Centre ahead. I guess they're going to be diverting people from all over the county to these sort of centres, so it's good to see. All I had was a text message telling me where to go and what day and what time. I've been here with Susan before, so I know where I'm going, but it is well signposted. And here we are, it's the village hall, I think. Hopefully there's not a lot of people and not a big queue. No entry, one way, one in, one out. 4 people in the queue. So that's me done. It was really quick, just walk straight in, they check your name, sent me over to a booth to talk to the guy that was going to jab me. He confirmed some more details again, and just gave me the lowdown. No pain, just a very tiny scratch as they give you the jab, and he says I can't drive. I can't drive for 15 minutes, so I can go out to the car and sit in the car, but don't drive off straight away. I guess that's in case you have a terrible reaction, but a few minutes in, you know, that was a piece of cake. So fingers crossed, I'm going to be fully vaccinated and hopefully immune from the virus within 3 weeks. So don't be fearful if you're about to go for the jab, etc. The process is easy, booking it was easy, extremely good routine here, quick in, quick out, lots of space, no big queues, and I've had a really good experience of this, so fingers crossed it stays that way. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it, both about my difference in driving styles and thoughts about the Kona Electric versus the Mini and how I've got on with that, and also this COVID jab. So again, thanks for watching my videos, take care, see you again soon, bye for now.